Do you ever hear the phrase culture war used in the context of political battles going on in America today? When you hear that, what does it make you think of? Can you imagine stepping back in time 2,000 years and hearing of a culture war in Rome? Can you imagine as well what that might look like? Well, the reality is that in the year of our Lord, 2 AD, that was exactly what was taking place. And here's how. As Caesar Augustus faced a royal dilemma over the succession of his throne, mourning the sudden death of his grandson Lucius and struggling to secure a stable future for the empire, halfway across the world, the Han Dynasty in China was in the midst of undertaking one of the greatest administrative feats recorded in ancient times. They were conducting a massive national census, documenting nearly 60 million people across 12 million households, proving that while Rome was a superpower of the sword, China was a superpower of the scroll. But perhaps the most intriguing drama of 2 AD surrounded the poet Ovid's publication of The Art of Love. It wasn't ordinary poetry. It was a scandalous how-to manual for illicit affairs and secret trysts, published at the exact moment Augustus was trying to legislate high family values. Augustus reacted with absolute scorn. He saw Ovid not just as a poet, but as a subverter of the state. He eventually had the book stripped from public libraries and a few years later used moral laws to banish Ovid to a remote frozen outpost on the Black Sea, never to see Rome again. By the time the dust had settled on this controversy, Rome's general state of morality had become a battleground between the emperor's forced tradition and a public that craved the very permissiveness Ovid celebrated. The state could control the laws, but it couldn't control the hearts and behaviors of the youth. So, while the emperor wanted a kingdom where high family values were respected, the march of history suggests that perhaps things are neither so much worse or maybe so much different than in the battles over culture today than they were a long, long time ago. But if we want to do things better for the generation ahead of us, one thing we might choose to learn from the great poet of his time: you might have a moment of fame or fun glorifying permissiveness, but when that moment passes, there's always a price to be paid.